So this is Crimson Desert, showcased by IGN. I want to check this out. Let's go. Let me know if this.
The bosses in Crimson Desert are powerful. I mean,
Let me know if this is too loud.
powerful. As the formidable Stag Lord grabbed me by the ankle and hurled
Why is the video so low?
me into a wall.
Oh,
The bone-crunching
still doesn't
impact
look good.
reminded me of how the strangest blows catapulted Kratos through tree trunks and mountains in God of War.
sick. I played through God of War, but I kind of got bored about like partway through. I need to get back to it and finish it, and then play the second one.
This
A
intense
third one's coming out, isn't it?
physicality lends Crimson Desert's battles a sense of genuine spectacle. These are the gladiator battles of
This
myths.
fight looks annoying as hell.
Last month, during an hour-long hands-on session at Gamescom 2024, I was able to go toe-to-toe
what
with
the
3
hell?
bosses, each of which showcased a different side to this fantasy action game's approach to battle. More recently, I was able to watch
little
another
gliding.
hour of gameplay. This time, a hands-off demonstration focused on exploration and questing. Together, these demos
I remember playing Black Desert. I felt like the people placed around the world were kind of uncanny. Like they didn't really like belong there.
have given me a good indication of what Crimson
It looks
Desert
better
is.
in Crimson
A game with
Desert.
combat that feels like a mix of God of War and Dragon's Dogma, set in a wider world
Interesting
where what
mix.
you do is more reminiscent of the modern Assassin's Creeds and The Witcher 3. You play as Cliff, a warrior
Guy's
with a
getting
gruff
his ass
Scottish
beat.
accent and a no-nonsense attitude. After a prologue establishes a bloody conflict between the Greymanes and the marauding Black Bears, Cliff's major goal is made clear. Explore the continent of Pywell in search of his surviving Greymane allies who have been scattered following the battle.
Sorry, let me move to the screen.
The bulk of the hands-off demonstration is set in Hernand, a medieval town populated
Hernand.
by a full range of fantasy races that wouldn't look out of place in any Tolkien-esque fantasy story. Cliff's interactions around its very beautifully rendered streets and roads are very much what you'd expect of a modern open-world action-adventure game. There's a horse you can whistle for, NPCs to be
Cool.
spoken to, and hostile regions to infiltrate.
Right.
That last one is where Crimson Desert has a little fun, as the demo shows Cliff changing into Hernandian
So like an Assassin's
in order to walk
Creed
past the castle's guards unnoticed.
fort raid.
Wait. Seems like a permit. No clue where he got it. We don't look like the...
I like that. I was surprised Ubisoft never implemented this in any of their games. Like an actual interactive sneaking system, right? Instead of just going through the bush, climbing over the wall and avoiding people, stabbing people in the neck, you get to interact with the NPCs and roleplay your way through.
troublemaking type.
That
Right.
would have been cool.
He can pass then. Open a gate.
Much like how
Right.
you can wear disguises in games like Hitman and Kingdom Come Deliverance. I hope there are plenty of opportunities to do this, and various outcomes to your trickery. It would be fun if you could use disguises to open up new conversations, as well as gain entry into forbidden areas.
This
Inside
is times better than Star Wars Outlaw for sure. For sure. Which is crazy because Ubisoft is known for really great takedowns, but they kind of flopped with that game.
the castle, Cliff pilfers an Abyss artifact, which is where Crimson Desert gets a little more unusual. The device opens up a pixelated portal in a wall, and walking through it transports Cliff to the Library of Providence. There, an
That's
alchemist
normal.
called Alastin reveals that the library is at the center of all worlds, and that there are beings who
wow.
plan to bring everything to nothingness.
What is the reason you brought me here?
There are beings who
Didn't he go there? He opened it up and walked through. You went there.
the rifts they have created will return everything to nothingness.
While I can't say I'm impressed by Crimson Desert's writing in this demo, this exchange and several others feel cluttered and wrapped up in themselves. But it does point to a much grander, more mythical plot beyond Cliff's hunt for his allies. That ambition of something larger is made abundantly clear when Alastin's ally, White Crow, gives Cliff the
The texture on the outfits are kinda crazy. Like you can tell what material these are. And this looks soft as hell to touch.
like Crowwing's ability, which allows him to leap off the library's
And the
floating
capes
island
actually
and
follow
reenact
the
Zelda
arm
Tears of the
movements
Kingdom's title
instead of
sequence.
clipping through. Very good. Oh, and he gave up on his mission, has decided death. Very good. Goodbye, world. See you all later. What's going on? What was that?
It's a little bold to use this motif. Can developer Pearl Abyss really craft something
Wait, what did that portal do? It just shot him through and he's in the same place.
that lives up to the wider meaning of that iconic visual? But even if it falls short, the magnificent view and subsequent glide to Earth is a thrill all the
This looks sick.
same. Back on the ground in Hernan,
Like, I was getting tired of the whole transforming into animals kind of power. But getting a sick looking crow cape to gently glide us down, I think that's pretty cool.
and a local peacekeeper tasks Cliff with finding and eliminating some local bandits who fight using a red
Sorry, I'm
mist.
running through
Heading out in search
Star
of such
Road
villains,
dailies.
Cliff comes across a burning house and throws nearby vases of water to save the clergyman
No
trapped
way.
inside. It's not clear from the demo if such objectives organically occur around the map, Red Dead Redemption 2 style, but what is soon clear is that this blaze is the work of those aforementioned.
That's sick. That's really cool. Imagine if that was generated randomly in the world and you just run by and hey, this house has a whole ton of jugs of water and it's on fire. Lucky them. They get to throw jugs at them.
Bandits. The local
That's
church says
fun.
one of their men, Hubert, fled the scene in an attempt to bait the enemies away and asks Cliff to find him. The payment is another one of those abyss
Where did you pull that
artifacts,
cube out
once
of,
again
friend?
suggesting that the
Where
worlds
did that
beyond
come
walls
from?
are of vital
Why does it
importance to
smell
Crimson
like
Desert's
that?
Story. I hope this results in a decent amount of weirdness that helps set the largely typical setting apart from other fantasy games.
I can't believe it.
That's pretty cool.
Hubert is found at a bandit camp that allows the demo to
How come fantasy libraries love to have floating chairs? Like, who's sitting on those? How do you bring them back down? I guess magic, right? But what if the magic runs out and just falls on
show
you? That's
off
dangerous.
stealth abilities. It's pretty
Dang, look at that
classic style
takedown.
and very reminiscent of
Very
cyber takedowns
clean.
in the Assassin's Creed games.
You
Not
could lift the crates too, so I'm assuming you could just pick a bunch of shit up and throw it at people.
particularly
That's
challenging,
fun.
but an alternative option to Crimson Desert's more publicized melee brawls. Hopefully when we go hands
Yeah,
on clean,
kill
stealth
'em.
will prove a worthwhile addition rather
Damn.
than a shallow tacked on extra. With Herbert
Uh-huh.
stealth will
What
prove
did
a
it say?
worthwhile
Taken what?
addition rather than a shallow
Oh, rusty hagwood dagger.
on extra.
Cool.
With Herbert freed, Cliff is approached by the goblin Shakatu, a merchant of the
Shakatu.
Gold Leaves Guild. He explains that the Gold Leaves are currently under the command of the evil Splithorn. In return for killing this toxic leader, Shakatu offers money and his services, things Cliff believes will be helpful in finding the missing Greymanes.
So we can definitely just assassinate people.
Wish us to
That's cool.
turn over a
God of War combat,
return to
Assassin's Creed assassination.
Arriving at the Gold
That's a
Leaf
good
camp,
mix.
it quickly becomes clear
Oh,
how
did
all
he
these
just
quests are
kick
linked.
that dude?
Arriving at the Goldleaf camp, it
Bam,
quickly becomes clear how all
bitch.
these quests are linked. The
Hey,
Goblin
knocked down
guards
2
use
others?
red
That's
mist as
sick.
part of
What
their
are they
battle
throwing?
tactics, and so reveal
Orange
themselves
paint?
as the very same miscreants that were
We're gonna
causing
blind
trouble
us.
for the people of Hernand. And so Split
Sword and board looks pretty good.
allows Shakatu to take over and help Cliff, but also
that the
fulfills
king?
the task set by the peacekeeper.
Ooh.
I hope Crimson Desert features plenty more of these
Ooh.
overlapping storylines.
I was
and
hoping his
follows a
head to
wider
come
narrative
off,
that
but
feels enjoyably
I guess just cutting the
interlaced.
neck.
That
Oh
will
my
certainly make
god.
up for the uneven quality of the writing
Jesus
during the demo.
Christ. Oh my god, he's bleeding out. Did you really need to go in and shank
Acts as the
him?
culminating boss fight of the hands-off demo, which brings us to the much more exciting side of Crimson Desert. He's agile and aggressive, which
What
brings
is...
Splithorn acts as the culminating boss
Is this the directional, like, key? What is this? Right? Because, well, I guess you push that direction to
fight of the
dodge.
hands-off demo, which brings us to the much more exciting side of Crimson
Quick time
Desert.
event, I
He's
guess.
agile and aggressive, wielding a
How are
sword
these
that
people
emits
not
both
dying
swings
from that
and vertical
buzzsaw?
and horizontal patterns, forcing
They
him to
are
dodge and block as he attempts
lucky.
to close the distance. But he's a
We're
piece of
just fighting in the crowd and they're just standing there.
Gamescom. The first of the 3 bosses I matched with was the Stag Lord. He's a relentless attacker, charging across the battlefield like a bullet train that can suplex you into your final destination. But
didn't know The Rock was in the game.
Capacity to throw you like a baseball, he's only human. I force distance between us.
This guy's a giant.
Explosive arrows to knock him out of his attack pattern, and
do you just punch him
to bury my blade in his back. The Stag Lord proves a real challenge of a fight. Crimson Desert
you're really
like
using all the tools at your disposal.
But it's not afraid to make you work really hard for victory.
Disposal.
I spend much of the lengthy fight learning the complexities of its combat system. Similar to this year's Dragon's Dogma 2, there's no lock-on, and so I have to be mindful of where I position Cliff and where his sword will land. Rolling forward allows me to.
I kind of like that there's no lock-on.
That surprises my foe. And
I like having more control.
Together, unleashing
like in Black Myth Wukong, where you don't lock on to the small ads that are around the map. You kind of just hit off into a random direction. So you really need to lock on in that game, which I don't like to do, because what if you're surrounded and you want to like hit multiple different people, but then you have to switch who you're locked on to before that? I don't know. Doesn't feel as smooth, but
strike that cleaves a chunk out of the Stag Lord's health bar. All this is speedy without sacrificing weight. It feels fantastic.
Damn.
It's also easy to let things run away from
just
you.
laid down and rolled back up.
To be chowing down on health restoring food.
What is going on?
Like frequency.
I'm taking bro for a ride. This is what you get for wearing horns on your head, bro. Idiot.
With the Stag Lord defeated, I take his mighty sword and shield, and the demo skips me ahead in the story, throwing me into snow-coated lands. Here,
you just crawl back up to his throne.
Seemingly being sacrificed.
That is gangster.
To some kind of mountain spirit. Such a spirit turns out to be the White Horn, a sort of antlered, abominable snow deer that
why do we keep fighting things with horns?
How different each of Crimson Desert's bosses can be. This colossal creature moves like a bucking bronco, and its galloping charges cause the mountains around us to break out in miniature avalanches.
Watch out.
Temporarily frozen.
Oh my, how did that break off?
After striking it so much that its white fur is stained almost.
I don't like how the fur looks.
Clamber onto its back in the fight's second phase and stab away at its flesh. The moment
I don't like how the fur looks. That's a bit too much.
Battles with towering monsters in Dragon's Dogma 2 earlier this year. Unlike the
I haven't played Dragon's Dogma 2 yet. I heard it was good, but the story is ass. But I don't know. I like story, but maybe not when it's ass.
Form back at the Goblin camp, these much larger bosses have 3 health bars, with each one eliminated increasing the intensity of the fight. But where the Stag Lord and White Horn scraps seem to escalate much like many other action game boss battles, my final battle against the Queen Stoneback Crab demonstrated Crimson Desert's
what is that? A house?
Through very different mechanics. The Queen Stoneback
How do you
Crab
fight
is
that?
colossally big. It fills the screen, and smartly, you can't fight it by just hacking away at its shins. Instead, the battle is a puzzle set piece that's clearly inspired by Shadow of the Colossus. I clamber onto the crab's
I was
stony
thinking
shell
that.
and grab onto the grass and flora that forms its fur, holding on for dear life while pulling myself up towards a trio of rock formations. Using a special punch skill, I shatter each of the rocks to expose a weak point that I plunge my blade into. Each open wound causes a geyser of water to blast out, which not only provides a visual spectacle, but also throws me high into the air. From above,
is that really water? I hope it's water.
Wings ability and plan on how to tackle the next stage. Now I'm tasked with destroying the pottery-like crown at the peak of the crab's mountain-like shell. A task completed by swinging Spider-Man style from a web and colliding with the pottery at full speed. It's all
whoa! Oh, you just spun like freaking Sonic the Hedgehog.
My hour-long session wasn't quite long enough to try all 4 of the bosses the demo had to offer, but a video presentation provided a quick insight into the only one I missed, the Reed Devil, a weird little guy who creates copies of himself that can only be defeated by destroying totems that are built during the battle.
Is this like a boss rush kind of game?
All 4 bosses make a promise.
I guess not, since you're assassinating and sneaking into forts and doing whatever.
If they're all like this,
fires.
Pearl Abyss could really have something special on its hands. I'm similarly impressed by the combat system's fundamentals. Yes, it's all quite Fantasy 101. Bows, swords, shields, parries, but it's all delightfully aggressive and properly impactful.
Whoa.
There's a seemingly deep combo system too, and it's because of that I wish the demo had had a section that was a little more relaxed for me to sample.
I wonder if there's a way to parry,
to learn and perfect button.
Like think Arkham Knights, no, not Arkham Knights, that game sucks. Arkham Asylum, right? You're surrounded, but you get chances to parry different attacks from different people with quick commands. I wonder if you could do that in this game.
I've got a good feeling you can pull off some cool stuff based on the combos that I did learn. It's a big green light for Crimson Desert's combat then. As for its adventuring chops, things are looking a little.
Whoa!
Light for Crimson Desert's combat then.
Sorry, was that a knee to a kick?
It's a big green light for Crimson
That
Desert's
left
combat
knee then right
As for its
kick?
adventuring chops,
Oh,
it's
that's
looking a little more
sick!
conventional. Pearl Abyss
These
certainly
combos
seems to
are
be making a
nuts.
solid enough transition from the MMORPG
I wonder if there's other
into single-player
weapons
territory.
other
But I
than
don't
sword
think
and
anything
board
shown in the hands-off
and bow and
demo
arrow.
particularly breaks new ground. Much of it is
Like
very
throwing
familiar if
knives,
you've played the likes of
two-handed
Assassin's Creed
swords,
or The
right?
Witcher 3.
Axes.
Nonetheless, it does look largely well put together. While I do hope that the
Fisticuffs.
artifact storyline goes suitably off the wall, I'd like to see the more typical fantasy storylines find
Where is he
suitable
diving
hooks
from?
to ensure regular gameplay feels more varied and creative than what
Ooh.
we've seen so far. With a combat system that shifts from classic sword and board action to slingshotting Spider-Man style round a walking mountain, the questing and exploration side of Crimson Desert.
That's so
ideally
funny,
also
he
needs
just
to aspire
spins
to
like that.
diversity. But even if it doesn't, this latest slice of gameplay certainly suggests that the bridges
that the
between epic
reed?
boss battles will be solid.
That looks
if
like an
not the
annoying
most
fight.
memorable aspects
I like
of
how
the
he's just
experience.
kicking him
For
around.
more on Crimson
Damn.
Desert, check out the entire 52-minute.
That's cool. Yeah, Crimson Desert. When does it come out? Crimson Desert. When do you come out? Reviewed at the Game Awards at the end of the year. Q2 2025. Well, that's good. If it was coming out sooner, I would have no time to play any other game. So that's good. Crimson Desert, cool game. All right, let's move on.